Whilst making my last video about photographing bluebells, I was putting together a video about leave no trace principles, about how to protect the environments that these bluebells grow in. But again, the audio was so appalling that I just couldn't face putting out another video with absolutely terrible audio where you couldn't really hear what I was saying. I was a bit pushed for time on the previous one, but a bit more time with this one. So hopefully this works a bit better, that I'll kind of talk through some of the things that I was thinking about, and I'll splice in some video from that day as well. Whilst I was walking around the woods and talking about leave no trace principles, I was struck with who am I actually making this video for? Because I kept thinking most photographers I know and that I think about kind of know this stuff already, surely. Like, we know to protect the environments that we go to. We don't want to damage the nature that we're photographing. And I became quite worried that it would come across as overly patronising. And it made me think when I was first doing the training to become a leave no trace trainer, to train other people up in the official leave no trace, which is from the Centre of Outdoor Ethics. Those of you from the US are probably really familiar with this. It's less common in Europe, although it is growing, which is fantastic to see. I was doing that with Colorado University. And was really proud of it. It was during lockdown actually, so it was online, and it was really great to be involved with that. And I was telling a friend of mine about what I'd been doing, and it was over a sort of number of weeks that I've been doing the training. And he just kind of turned to me and shooting from the hip and telling me straight, he was like, surely that is just pick up your shit and don't be a dick. And I looked back at him and I was like, yeah, I mean, it's like 2 weeks of training, big old manuals, all of this. That kind of sums it up, really. And that's what I was thinking about when I was walking around in the woods, of really this comes down to, if we just treat nature with respect and don't be a dick, then everything is well in the world, and we've got a good environment. But what I would like to do is talk through some of the specifics with bluebells that come out of the leave no trace principles, the 7 leave no trace principles, how that applies to bluebells, and then hopefully just finish up with what we can do as responsible photographers in order to encourage other people that are enjoying the bluebells, so it's just better for everyone. So let's start with the bluebells themselves. Many people won't know that are UK based, that over half the world's population of bluebells are actually in the UK. So we're incredibly fortunate to have these bluebells as part of our natural habitat. And we have 3 different types of bluebells. We have our native English bluebells, which are the lovely stem with a sort of droopy bell coming off the end of it. We have the Spanish bluebells, which are more sort of clumped together. I'll put pictures in here because I'm not describing it very well, but you've got the central stem and they kind of clump off there. And then we also have a hybrid species in the middle of those. So the ones we were seeing in the woods the other day were predominantly the native bluebells. And they're an incredibly delicate flower, obviously really, really beautiful, but they take a really long time to establish themselves, somewhere between sort of 5 to 7 years between seed and bloom. So they do take a long time to kind of grow across. So when you look at that carpet on a forest floor, incrementally that's grown out, so that will have taken a really, really long time to get there. And then of course if they get destroyed, it's going to take a very long time for them to get back. So as a result, as part of the kind of efforts to protect these stocks, they're actually protected under UK law. So a lot of people don't know this either, that it's actually illegal to intentionally pick or damage or destroy bluebells or uproot them. So even if you like move them from one place to another, that is against the law. So if you were to just walk straight through a bluebell patch in order to put your tripod down, and your tripod goes on bluebells, you are breaking UK law, which is quite an interesting thing. So that's they're so important to our native species that they're actually protected by law. Their leaves, you may notice, are quite, what's the right word for it? Succulent? No. Quite fleshy. It's a better word for that than that. But they're essentially, once they get crushed, they can no longer photosynthesize. And when they can't do that, they can't send any food down to the bulb. And if the bulb hasn't got any food, you're never going to get any flowers, you're never going to get any seeds, you're never going to get any more plants from that particular bluebell plant. So that's one of the reasons why crushing the bluebells by walking through them is so terrible, and you end up with these islands of bluebells where people have walked around them or walked into them because they've been divided off. So that fits quite nicely into one of the leave no trace principles of the travelling side of things, of trying to walk on durable surfaces. So a lot of these places, and the National Trust takes a lead on this, but other places as well will have designated paths that allow you to access the bluebells while staying on the path, and you'll quite often end up with little signs or a little rope fence next to it, and it's really important to stick to that, because that's your durable surface that you can compact. As soon as you get tempted to walk down a little path through the bluebells, everyone else will also follow that, and the natural order of things is that path will expand and become wider and wider, and the ground will become compacted. The compaction of the ground is really important as well, because once the soil is really compacted, again, you're not going to get those seeds taking root, you're not going to have any life there, and it just becomes permanently bare ground with no bluebells. So in terms of where this fits into our leave no trace principles, we've got 7 principles, and in some ways you could mark off each and every one of these. So in terms of planning ahead, think about what time of day you might be going. Is it going to be a really busy time of day? Can you get there really early in the morning to avoid the crowd, so you're not tempted to encroach onto the bluebells to get the right position? You could be thinking about what kind of lens you might take with you. So I'm a big advocate in these situations taking a nice long lens, telephoto lens, so that you can be well back from your subject and getting closer that way. Potentially just giving yourself a bit more time so that you can recce your location and work out your angles before setting the camera up. Will again avoid that temptation or accidentally walking back into bluebells or whatever else. In terms of the travelling, a lot about that is sticking to the right path and a sensible path, not being tempted to take shortcuts off through stands of bluebells, and yeah, just being really sensible about where you're travelling. I had a big problem the other day with my dog, who didn't quite understand those principles, leave no trace, and actually as I was talking to the camera about leave no trace, he started running around in the bluebells and thought it was absolutely hilarious and wouldn't come back. So I ended up having to ditch the filming, clip him back to the lead, and take him off down the trail, because he was causing damage to the bluebells there. So just being and I suppose in the planning ahead side of things, he hasn't actually done that before, so I wouldn't necessarily know about it. But if I knew my dog was going to do that, I could have had him clipped to the lead before I got into that situation. Hopefully it goes without saying, I'm not disposing of anything in bluebells. You do occasionally see poo bags and bottles in there, which I just cannot understand the mentality, but I'm sure anyone watching this video wouldn't be in that category of thinking that was acceptable behaviour. We do obviously need to leave everything behind, avoiding the temptation to bring any bluebells back home or moving them around. As I say, that is against UK law as well. So leaving them intact, and then minimising our impact, that kind of treading carefully, of really being careful where we're putting our tripod legs down, where we might be kneeling. I tend to take a little kneeling mat that I really look around to make sure that I'm not on any of the plants before I put that down, and just trying to tread lightly, really, of not stomping around or kicking anything up, just keeping it as light as possible. All of that ties into respect for wildlife. That's the whole point of this, really, is that we're respecting a really beautiful part of nature, and making sure that it's there when we come back next year, and bring it onto the final principle of that being considerate, that it's not just about us enjoying it, it's about other people enjoying it and being able to come to these places year after year, and hopefully them getting better and better rather than getting smaller and smaller and more damaged. I think what I'll do is make another video at some point about something that the Centre of Outdoor Ethics and Leave No Trace calls using the authority, and that's I'm still not 100% sure how to kind of convert it to a British mentality of being very kind of uptight about challenging anyone in the outdoors in a nice way, but I think as photographers, as a starting point, we can role model that if other people seeing us being really considerate, being back from the Bluebells and not sticking our tripod right in the middle of the flowers, we're walking in, we're putting a subject in the middle of like a model or what have you in the middle of the Bluebells, then other people that are coming along that are getting more of a sort of social media snap or whatever, hopefully can learn from that. But we probably do need to move to the point of having tools that we can challenge people that we see that are doing the wrong way without overly upsetting them and without causing confrontation, but just saying, actually, do you know what you're doing isn't actually acceptable for these reasons? But that's a bigger subject, and it's quite thorny, and I haven't quite worked out in my head how I would go about it. So I'll have a think about that, and I'll turn that into another video. So hopefully that's a bit of a useful discussion. As I said at the beginning, I don't want to come across as patronising with people who don't know this. Like, this is, I'm sure within the photography community, I know that it is a thing that everyone will kind of buy into, of protecting the environments that we enjoy and photograph. But if you haven't checked it out before, I'll leave a link to the Leave No Trace scheme, because that is quite cool. There is also an online awareness course if anyone fancies doing that, but it's a really nice thing to come back to when you're out and about, to just think, actually, getting a photograph is great, that's important to us, but actually it's all about this environment that we're in. Is the really important thing, and ultimately, if that comes down to it, I'm going to cause damage by taking this photograph, and then just don't take the photograph. It's better to enjoy that environment. Thanks so much for watching, and please do ask any questions in the comments. Really appreciate the old like and subscribe, because that's keeping the motivation going to keep these videos rolling, and I really look forward to seeing you in the next one. Cheers, folks.